Hello, welcome to my channel. This is my equipment specialist channel. I'm Mark Gingras, and I'm going to give you a little more insight on what it's like to be an ES, equipment specialist. Now, I'm in Propulsion, so we do things a little bit different there. The idea is behind these videos is to give the maintenance personnel or anybody interested in this job a little leg up on their interviews. They can kind of take these videos and apply them to an interview, or apply them to the jobs they currently have and tailor them to the ES job, so when you do have an interview you can kind of have an idea of what you're talking about as an ES and hopefully get an edge on somebody that didn't watch these videos. That being said, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about demand forecasting. We forecast for the future because it takes 3 to 5 years to gain parts that we need. As an ES, I'm going to know in 2 or 3 years I'm going to replace these parts, and if I replace them I need to buy them or repair them. We're in the business of repairing, but we also are in the business of buying new parts. So if I don't project the future correctly, we're going to budget incorrectly. First, you take the past usage, the history, the failures, the condemnations, things that were so badly damaged that you have to throw them away. How many repairs did we do in the past? Did we do 100 repairs, 1,000 repairs? It doesn't matter. What matters is the percentage of repairs. Ultimately, we want to apply the percentages to a future program. So what we do is we take the past history and the past program and divide them by each other to get a percentage. For example, if you drove 100 cars in your fleet for a year straight, and of those 100 cars, 3 of them died completely where you had to condemn them and total them, that's a 3% condemnation rate per year. So you can expect that the next year 3% will also condemn, assuming that you've been doing this for year after year. You know, there's so many variables in this. Assume that you had a fleet of cars that were running for the past 15 years, so everything's kind of steady state. Every year 3% of them will fall out. So it doesn't matter if you have 100 cars or 1,000. 3% is 3%. So you can take that 3% and apply it to the future. So that's what you do. You take your past history and you divide it by your past activity. The activity is driving the amount of miles you drove that year, possibly, per car. You break it down, you know, and that will give you your projected usage rates. You take those projected usage rates and you multiply that by your projected activity for the next year or 2 years or 3 years and so on. And that will give you your actual demand forecast. It'll predict the future for you. So you're not just taking a history, you're taking a percentage of the history versus usage or versus program and applying it to the future. Once you have your demand forecast, the item managers that we work very closely with has to fulfill that demand. And how do they fulfill that demand? Well, in simplest terms, if they have good assets sitting on the shelf, they're going to fill the demand with those assets. If they don't, they're going to look at the repair history and the repair data and the projected repair forecast, which we do as ESs. We forecast ultimately how many repairs we're going to do in the future as well. So the item manager takes that forecast into account, and it takes the serviceable assets that we have, repairs, and whatever's left over we have to buy for the leftovers. Otherwise we can't fulfill our needs. And that is in a nutshell what it's like to be an ES doing demand forecasting in Propulsion. I hope you enjoyed this video, and there'll be more to come. I'm going to try to do this weekly and just give you a little bit more insight on what it's like to be an ES so that you can also apply for these jobs and get them if you're qualified.